the splitting the cheeseburger. That's a monumental day, right? And as low as we felt, it built character that I can't quantify. You know what I mean? Just accept the good is also the bad. And it really is, man. You might not believe it, but it is.
Brad Womack, welcome to the Meat Mafia podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We've been waiting to say that for a long time.
Yeah.
I doubt that, actually. But I'll acknowledge, man, this, I think I'm low-hanging fruit for you guys, but to me, this is the big league. So, meaning, I've been waiting to do this with you guys. Thank you very much for the invite. It's exciting.
Yeah, this is genuinely one of the most excited episodes, or this is the most excited we've been in a long time for an episode. We were talking about this as soon as we booked it with you, and Jay and Steph helped you get involved in this too, because you're someone that we truly look at as a close friend, a mentor. We admire a lot of the different ways, really how you live your life ultimately. And then for our listeners, we like to tell them a little bit about how we met our guests and like kind of the origin story behind that. And so the three of us have a very close mutual friend, Natasha Vander Merway, who's an amazing triathlon coach in town. And so when Harry and I first moved to Austin, she invited us to start going to these open track workouts on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
So Harry and I show up Wednesday, 6:30 a.m., see this freaking Hulk-looking dude with a beard. You know Seth Feroci?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I thought you looked like him when I first met you.
Yeah.
I just saw something that reminded me of him, and then you and I got paired together.
Yes, sir.
So we were running the whole time, getting our asses kicked, because I think it was like August or something like that, 2022. So it's probably 9,500 on the track.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just remember during that run, you didn't tell me anything about yourself. You were just digging in and asking questions about me because you really wanted to learn.
Sure.
And I really think that that's how you are, and we'll get into that. But afterwards, Natasha was like, do you know who that is? That's Brad. Him and his twin brother, Chad, have like some of the biggest bars in Texas. He was the bachelor for 2. She was just raving about all your accomplishments.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you didn't bring up one thing about yourself. You just wanted to learn about me.
Well,
and then flash forward a year, Harry and I launched this protein powder company, Noble.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had just gotten connected to Jay and Steph, who were in the room. Shout out Jay and Steph for helping to make this happen. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
And we gave them a bag of protein powder. And I think you might have seen Jay in the locker room, but you didn't realize that it was us. I think Jay told you that it was our supplement brand.
Right.
And so you immediately reached out. We got on a call, and you were either I think you were the second investor that we had.
Oh,
and just for you to believe in us like that, it was jet fuel to the mission. So it's a long-winded way of saying, like, we've had some unbelievable experiences with you, and we'll always be appreciative of just the support that you've given us from the start, man. So thank you so much.
Jesus, man. I want to hug both of you guys, man. That's, I'm not worthy of that introduction. Thank you so much. And you know, I'll make it quick. I remember the first time I met both of you guys, wildly impressed just by the human beings you are. But as far as Noble goes, you know, that was an easy one. I'll tell you why. One, I believe in the product, right? But so much more importantly, I mean, just from what little I had learned about both of you and your drive and just that tenacity. And I'm just talking in training, right? And so I didn't know what you guys were like in business. But again, it was just a no-brainer. And I love to invest in people that I believe in, right? And so, and again, let's face it, I don't want to, this isn't an all shucks, but I think your product is going to skyrocket. Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud of you guys, but more importantly, man, I felt fortunate to just be a very, very small part of your mission. And just to say, hey man, I know those guys. I want to watch you guys just explode, and just don't forget about the little people when you guys are all over the world selling your supplements. And anyway, I'm proud of you guys. Proud to be a part of you guys. Small part.
Dude, you're the man. Well, I still remember us two sharing a swim lane one day.
Yes, sir.
For triathlon workouts, and that was the most challenging day because it wasn't necessarily about the swim. It was how do I get around Brad without hitting him because his shoulders are so wide.
Well, you know what, man? I've got to say this, and I admire triathletes so much. And trust me, I'm not trying to detour this, but you mentioned Natasha. I think she is truly one of my favorite human beings on this planet for so many reasons. One is for her patience. And so, meaning, the swimming is not my forte. I do remember that day like it was yesterday. Thank you for not pushing me under and drowning me.
Dude.
It's so funny with you guys and how hard you train. And yeah, it's a light day. And okay, good. I get excited. Yeah, we're just going to do 15 miles in the morning, then another, let's do a 1,600 meter swim at fast pace. Oh yeah, we're going to ride this afternoon. Like, wait a minute, man, I'm stopping at the run, fellas. I don't, but yeah, I remember those days fondly. And so good times.
There's something about sharpening up around other people who
Of
are
course.
outside doing other really cool things, but you, like Brett was saying, like, you don't even need to necessarily know the person. You just know they show up to that track and they're putting in hard work. Like,
Sure.
there's something special, especially around Austin. So many people doing that. So just being able to plug into a community like that is so cool.
You know, we were just talking about this outside. The Austin community, I've found, is the most welcoming, as far as fitness community, most welcoming. I'll be the first to say, I don't know anything about it. I just try to emulate what other people do that I admire and look up to, you know, and so it feels good. It's an intimidating thing to show up at a track and you're seeing people that have quite literally podiumed and won Kona, and you know, and then there's me. And so, but every single one of you guys was so welcoming, and again, I found that throughout the fitness community in Austin. That's why I just love this city. I love the community as a whole, and yeah, anyway, so yeah, again, thank you for welcoming me in the pool. And so that was a struggle, buddy. That was a struggle.
We got through it.
We got it
somehow.
done. We got it done.
You two silverbacks sharing the same lane.
Well, look at this dude, man. It's
Look at
anyway,
you.
trying to keep up
Yeah.
with you. It was fun.
So
Yeah.
It was fun.
Well, I feel like hard work is definitely probably one of your ethos, or two words that I would use to describe you. It also seems like you kind of have that like blue collar work ethic, I would say. And we've talked. I've heard bits and pieces of your backstory, just building Dogwood and your time in the hospitality and bar space. But I think for the listeners, just learning a little bit more about your backstory and where you come from and how it kind of led to everything you're doing now would be a really cool starting point.
Sure, I appreciate the question, man. I am very proud to say I'm a blue collar guy through and through. And you know, where I came from, we came from nothing. I mean, literally nothing. And so, you know, in my town, you either go to college or you get a blue collar job. I was fortunate enough. I tried college, didn't work out so well. And so I got into the oil fields. And when you step the first day, you step out there, you're measured by your work ethic. I care maybe too much what other people think of me, right? But another thing is, man, I'm a firm believer in earning your keep. And so from day one, man, I mean, I'm talking, this isn't an all shucks story, but 16, 17-hour days, whether it was in swamps, deserts, forests, jungle, everything, just working all day, every day. That's why I'm so impressed with your Step Up Challenge, because it's the same thing every day. It's going to be hard. It's going to suck. You're going to do it. You're just going to do it. And so, but I value people with work ethic so much. And frankly, I don't think I have the intellect to be a white collar guy. You know, let's put that out there. I don't want to build myself up anyway, but I really, really respect people that roll up their sleeves and just get it done. And that's how I feel fulfilled. And so anyway, worked in the oil fields for about 10 years. And then my twin brother, business partner for over 2 decades, had called me. This dude had talked about, Chad had talked about the bar business since we were kids. And I was just thinking, hey man, it sounds good. You just want to chase girls. I know it. But it was the exact opposite. He was so focused and so driven, and in fact had a talk with me that if we do this, this is going to be our business, period. And we're not going to mess around at all. And we need to start from the bottom. And that's exactly what happened. I got out of the oil fields and we started bussing tables, working at the door and at other venues. And then kind of the rest is history. So, but I appreciate the acknowledgement because I am very, very, very proudly blue collar. Yeah.
What sort of things did you learn out in that oil field other than just like putting your head down and working hard?
You know, lead by example. You know, I had guys, some mentors. The guy that owned the company I worked for, loved him like a father and was a mentor to me for most of my life and adult life. And so seeing him, I would see him actually, and he wouldn't say what to do, he would do it. And so to me, that's the biggest lesson I've ever learned in my life. I have never in my life asked anyone to do something that I wouldn't do, you know? And so I think you need to lead by example, but more importantly too, he taught me, you know, to me, anything worth a damn is never easy. You know what I mean? And so, And look, man, we're talking about the oil fields here. There was no big reward. There was no, I mean, like, no, I'm sure you guys one day want some private equity firm to come in, write you a check, and you celebrate. There's no reward like that in oil fields, man. And so you kind of have to just say, my reward is doing the best I can every single day. And I learned that from him. And so, and also, I think it just builds character, you know. I'm big. Man, I almost get embarrassed because I swear to God, I'm not trying to sound like these David Goggin type people, right? I'm really not. I'm nothing. But, you know, being uncomfortable to me is almost a welcome feeling and just from working hard. And so that's another thing I learned from him is life isn't easy, man. So whether you're working for something or just doing your job, do the best you can. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I would imagine that you and Chad starting off bussing tables was probably like a superpower when you guys started building out bars yourselves because you truly learned the industry from scratch. Do you look back on that time as a superpower as well?
Every day. And I'll tell you, the way I was brought up, if someone gave me a job, was gracious enough to hire me, I was going to work for that person like that was my business, okay? And so absolutely what you just said, there is nothing that was considered menial to us. And so I look at those days so fondly. And guys, I got to tell you, man, and this is something I'm really proud of, but, you know, we were in that industry for 23 years. And for about, I want to get this right, for at least 17 or 18 of those years, we were in those bars every single day, you know, and still bussing tables and still cleaning the bathrooms and still mopping the floors. And only because, you know, I took so much pride in that. But yeah, to answer your question directly, I take immense pride that well, hell, we cared, you know, but it's more about maybe we were just fulfilling our own, I don't know, desires to be the best we can. And I know you're thinking mopping the floors is the best you can. Yep, because we presented our best product to our customers on a daily basis. I was really proud of that, whether I was working for someone or for myself.
How do you teach that? Like, just that drive to be excellent at everything is so rare.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not excellent at everything. I promise. In fact, I'm far from it. But I damn sure work to be my best at everything. And so I don't know if it's something you can teach, you know. I really don't. And all I know is, again, maybe it's inherent, but I'll revert back to my mentors and other people that I look. I'm going to turn it back to you guys. I look to people like you guys. You guys are striving to be your best. And so can you teach that? I don't know. But I know there is something within me that just always wants to live up to my potential. And I would hope that everybody out there is like that. Can you teach that? I don't know. I know some real good people that are downright lazy. So, but I don't know. Maybe they're fulfilling their own, I don't know, idea of what they want to be by being lazy. I don't know. So it's a hard question to answer. So I don't know if you can teach it, but I thank God every single day that I was blessed with that. Just wanting to be my best. Still fail miserably. I try.
But we're trying, though.
Oh, we're trying. I know you guys are. It's impressive.
Yeah, man. How long did it take you and Chad to go from bussing the tables to actually opening up the first bar? Was it the Dogwood, or was it a different bar?
No, man. I'm so proud to say. So it took us about a year and working for somebody.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's
we got
quick.
lucky. Yes, it is. And I say that so humbly. But we got lucky. So there was a bar on 6th Street. At the time, it was Lucy's Retired Surfers Bar. And I'll back up a little bit. We were given sweat equity into a bar with 2 other partners, and we just our visions didn't align. I'll put it that way. And so anyway, the first opportunity we got, Lucy's Retired Surfers Bar was shut down by the comptroller for not paying their taxes. And so it was a perfect opportunity. We jumped all over it. A guy brought us the lease. We had a mutual agreement. We did our part. He did his. Thank God we split ways. We didn't see eye to eye. But anyway, and that was the first foray into the bar business. And it was so much fun. I mean, we had nothing. We built that bar on credit cards. I think we borrowed some money from my grandfather to eat. True story. We were bartending at a competing bar to earn tips while we were building ours. They were so cool. And shout out to the guys over at the Blind Pig. It was a long time ago, but they were really cool to allow us to do that, you know. Mm-hmm. But we were so adamant. We had a business plan of our business model of we wanted to buy one bar per year every year. And so when we started working, I think I've told you guys this, we didn't take a single salary check at all. We earned tips, of course, and we started building a small staff, and we just saved our money, and thank God, almost exactly a calendar year later, we bought our second bar. Third year, same thing. Fourth year, same thing. And then we kind of started growing so much that we wanted to control growth. We've never had investors, and so it limits growth, obviously. But it also kind of taught us to watch our finances a little bit. Long story short, that's kind of how it started on Dirty Six. And then Dogwood came down the road, and that kind of just erupted everything. It was a lot of fun.
So, who were some of the first people to believe in that vision outside of just you and Chad?
Well, so my business partner, Jason Carrier, and my little brother at one time was also our business partner. So it was the four of us. I never want to leave them in the shadows. Hell, Jason's doing much better than all of us now. He's continuing on as a restaurateur. Anyway, I looked to other local guys. Jeff Van Delden was doing big things, aquarium at the time. I mean, he's all over the place. I literally can't name every single one of his bars. We'd be here an hour. Bob Woody, of all people, would offer advice. And then Matt Lucky, Michael Gerard, some of the old school guys that had multiple venues that, in my opinion, they were doing it right, whatever that may mean. But again, those people I just named looked at those bars as businesses. I want to make that very clear because our vision was not to get into the bars, chase girls, drink, and have a party every weekend. It was, no, man, we're going to work 7 days, and this is a business just like you're walking into an office at a corporation. We wanted to take it seriously. So, but no, I pulled from inspiration from other guys that were solid operators. Yeah.
I'd have to imagine that having Chad in the trenches with you was such an amazing, just an incredible blessing, because Harry and I talk about this a lot. I can't imagine being a solo founder, just the adversity, the sleepless nights, the stress. Also, it feels great to celebrate the wins with someone. And also when you're getting kicked in the teeth, it's great to have the other person there just almost laugh about the situation.
Yes, sir.
So I'd have to imagine you and Chad probably pulled so much strength from each other, right?
Brett, I couldn't have, nor would I have done it without my twin brother. And he led the charge for all four of us. And again, meaning Jason and Wes too. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there were times, and I'm sure you guys have gone through it. I don't want to get in your business, but you know, sometimes it's feast or famine, man. And you know, times we're wondering if we're going to make rent on the venues and payroll and all of that good stuff. And heck yeah, to have somebody as a support system. In the bar business, I would challenge anybody to show me a more difficult industry. And people might laugh out there. People might laugh. But when you care so much about the product you're putting out, right? And there's liability involved. You're selling alcohol. There's, you know, I mean, there's safety involved. There's all these things. Are you staying relevant? The hours never end. You're there till 3 a.m. You have to get up at 7 a.m. because you have a liquor order coming in. I mean, it's nonstop. And so, absolutely, man, I want to make this clear again. I could not do it alone, nor would I have even attempted to. And so, yeah, man, the reason that we were even mildly successful is because I had family to lean on and who I consider to be one of the best operators in the industry, which is my twin brother.
Yeah. Was there an inflection point when things really started to take off? You mentioned buying one bar a year. Was there a point where it was like, oh, maybe we can buy 2, 3, 4 this year?
Yes, sir, there is. And you know, and again, I really want to say this humbly, man, but, you know, when we started operating the 4 bars at a time, humbly speaking, we had life-changing revenue coming in, right? I mean, life-changing for us. I mean, I just established we came from nothing. So, I mean, $100 would have been life-changing. Yeah. But anyway, but when we looked around and said, okay, are we suited to handle this? We're not the best businessmen. We're damn good bar guys. So we had to learn. We had to learn along the way. But to answer your question, yeah, when we started rolling on a consistent basis, we started having developers from around the country call us and ask to put spaces. The biggest one, I kid you not, the Harrah's Casino group flew us out to Vegas, and of all things, wanted to put a chugging monkey in Harrah's Casino in Vegas because they wanted a dumbed down sophomore bar. I get it, just people to let their hair down. It didn't work out. They wanted too much control from the past venues that we had and our entire future, so we just didn't do it. But things like that, absolutely, we started realizing, okay, man, things are actually coming to fruition. We need to be really, really wise here and kind of force ourselves, just stop. Don't get ahead of yourselves. And it felt damn good. And then the time when we opened the Dogwood, for whatever reason, it exploded, man. And then we were like, okay, buckle up. We're going to enjoy this ride. And that's when we started branching out, Houston, and then Nashville came along, and just, again, life-changing. Felt good.
That's amazing.
Felt really, thank you very much. I wear that very proudly.
It's incredible to hear that story, from the oil fields to bussing tables, living off credit cards and tips to... I can't even imagine what that feeling must have been like when revenue was just exploding and you guys are sitting there being like, this is working beyond our wildest measures. But you see a lot of people start to make money for the first time, and it really does change them.
Sure.
Is there anything that was helpful to you to just kind of stay humbled and rooted and not let that success get to your head? Because so many people struggle with that, man. You've done such a good job staying balanced. And
thank you for that. But I'll tell you, when I started smiling, man, I almost got a little sideways. Oh yeah, I did. And not anything, I think the word is nefarious, right? But I had my eyes on certain cars and stuff. Like, look, dude, just don't do it. But yeah, there's a story I'll tell very, very, very quickly. Just, you mentioned the oil fields, but this is a true story. Chad and I were working in the oil fields. We were dead broke, literally dead broke. And there was a day that on our lunch break, the only thing we could afford is a 99-cent cheeseburger from McDonald's. That's we had to split it. And so, and I think about that story so often. And, there were times that we were sitting, that's what we would celebrate. It's not, hey, yay, we're making all this money. I've said this a million times. To me, the money, period, is just a byproduct of doing something that you really love. And so thank God we could pay our bills. It was never of, hey, man, we hit X amount of dollars in the bank account. Swear to God above, I mean that. But I always revert back to that story. Think of that. I think with tax it was $1.03, right? And we had to split that. And there were times that we'd celebrate the wins that you mentioned at a good steak dinner, which I know you guys love, and look around and just say we did it. And that's the best feeling in the world for me. I could care less about my bank account. In fact, it's pretty low right now. And so, but anyway, no, it's a stupid joke. But yeah, just celebrating those wins, I hope, in a humble way. How can you forget having to split a cheeseburger, right? So anyway, that's that's a true story.
When you put yourself back in the headspace of when you guys were bussing tables, starting the restaurants, was there stuff that you were doing on a personal level, the workouts, just things to take care of yourself so you could actually perform at the job? Because it's so easy for entrepreneurs to just pour themselves into the business, and then it's like, you look up and you're not the person that you were.
Harry, I'm so glad you asked that, man. Another famous story that I tell all the time. I have some real good college friends of mine, and one in particular, I know his dad really well. And his dad is like all of you guys. He just gets after it, no matter what he's embroiled into business. But this guy's a physical specimen. So I always tried to emulate what he did. Anyway, we were knee deep in our first bar, Chugging Monkey, right? And no, I was not working out. I'm telling you, 17, 18-hour days. We were painting the venue. We were in there. Anyway, I hadn't seen him for about a year and a half, and he came in to have dinner. When I opened my door, he came to pick me up. When I opened my door, his first words were, "You're emaciated." I remember that, and I think about that because no, I didn't have time. I didn't allow myself time to do that. We poured ourselves into that. And that's another reason I take fitness so seriously right now, because I can only imagine if I was what I consider to be my best self, how I would handle the inevitable issues that come up when you're starting a business and failing miserably. But at the time, yeah, I'm telling you, you're emaciated. So no, I did not find the balance. And that's why I try so hard to look to all these guys out there that find balance. Best example, Nick Bear. And trust me, I want that dude, what he has done, and he's seemingly good guy, seemingly good father, seemingly good husband, but in business and still trains like he does and all that. He gets it done. And so I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. And I'm trying to learn. And towards the end, yeah, I forced myself. It was almost like a meeting. Okay, from 11 to 1, my meeting in the gym.
Yeah.
And but there were times, no, man. I mean, I just couldn't keep up.
Do you think that you guys would have had the type of success that you would have? Like, you know, there's a trade-off there too, where you're pouring into the business and it's actually working.
We know. Us know. I mean, I just mentioned people like Nick. It can be done, and it shocks me. I look for that. And we'll look at again. I keep turning it back to you guys, but you were in the gym this morning at 6 a.m. You were doing your steps daily. You guys get it done too, right? But for us, no, I do not. I think our formula, for whatever reason, put your blinders on and work. Period. Personal relationships suffered. Family relationships suffered. No free time at all. Obviously, I just acknowledged my mental and physical health suffered. But it worked for us. But that's all we knew. You know, like I said, oil fields, you go to work. And so, you know, balance. Yeah. You ask the foreman in the oil fields for balance, and you'll get a boot up your butt. So I'm telling you. So anyway, you're lucky to eat lunch out there. But yeah, so anyway, it served us well, but I wouldn't recommend it at all, you know?
Yeah, and it makes sense because if you're, you know, Nick's a good example of, you know, he has a supplement company, so he becomes that proof of work. He's going to sell more supplements by being in great shape. Yeah. It's very counterintuitive with the bar business. It sounds like where you guys came from, you just had to eat shit to get to where you were, and then eventually you were able to make up for lost time.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. But, you know, that's life, right?
That's life.
And, you know, those hard times, they build character. I wouldn't trade anything. Not a single day in my life would I change. I genuinely mean that. And I've had some dark days, but I wouldn't trade a single day of my life for anything in this world, because I pull from different experiences, both good and bad.
That's got to be an amazing feeling.
It is. It gives me confidence that I did it right. And you may disagree with that. To me, I'm very confident I did it right, because I would do it all over again the same exact way, day to day, same exact way.
So you guys are building out the restaurant businesses, and then you go on The Bachelor during that or after? Like,
here we go.
You knew it was going to sneak. You knew we were going to sneak.
And cue the sweat. Cue the sweat. Here we go. Man, I thought we were friends. No, I'm kidding. No,
this segment will only last 60 seconds.
No. Okay, my man. Okay, please. I hope you have a good editor. I'm kidding. I'll make a long story short, man. That came out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere. And I was telling this story the other day, but true story. We were all day drinking on a Sunday, and I was pretty lit up. I'm just going to acknowledge that. And we walked into a local restaurant, and we saw something going on. They were casting for the girls. It was before they recycled people from like Bachelorette and stuff. We were eating. A woman comes up, taps me on the shoulder, and said, "Hey, this is going to sound crazy. We're casting for the Bachelor. We're casting the girls. We haven't found the guy yet. Are you familiar with the show?" Of course I was. And she said, "Would you be interested?" My exact words were, "Hell no." I was laughing. I mean, it was a really, really pleasant exchange. But anyway, she said, "Well, give me your information. We can be really convincing." The following Tuesday, that was a Sunday. Tuesday, I was on a plane to LA and interviewing with, President of ABC. Anyway, so that came around, the first time was 2007. And so I guess there was a story there because we had 4 venues at the time that were highly profitable, humbly speaking. And so, it's some dude from Austin, some random dude from Austin. They just threw up there. So I make jokes about it, but I wouldn't trade that either. It's part of my identity. I met some amazing people and some of the experiences, of course, the travel and everything. And one of the main reasons I did that was I'm a shy guy by fault. To a fault. And I just wanted to break out of that zone a little bit, and it helped me do that, and also helped me develop some really thick skin.
Talk about getting uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Put my money where my mouth is. Okay. Be comfortable, or
That's
get comfortable
uncomfortable.
being uncomfortable. Jesus, guys, that was uncomfortable, but also a lot of fun came with it, and it's undeniable the effect that it had on business and then other personal relationships. Some things came about, and it was a lot of fun, and I felt honored to be the chosen one, so to speak. Twice. I know, second time, I don't know what I'm thinking, man. Maybe I don't learn. But good times, man. Yeah, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. I just, like I said, I started sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what's cool about that is when we first got connected, I don't think you were on social media at all. And so at this point, you've been cranking on Instagram. The content's amazing, by the way. So it's cool to see you public. Were you off social media? Was it just kind of after the Bachelor, you just wanted to decompress and be more private and focus on other things?
Yes and no. I'm telling you, when I mention I'm shy to a fault, that's a true story, and so a lot of times, man, I don't want people in my business.
Yeah.
And I'll address the social media thing because it has been fun, I'm going to admit it, but I find comfort, frankly, in flying under the radar, and I don't need to grandstand. I don't want people knowing my business, really. I'm really doing a U-turn now, fellas, because, but I was so fortunate, Jay and Steph with Phase 6, we had a discussion, and the whole social media thing, it's in no way am I trying or am I capable of being any kind of influencer or anything. One, it's a good way to stay in touch with people. I do want to put some content out there. I'm going to sum up the best experience from that. I've only been on it maybe 2.5 weeks or something like that. And with their guidance, I'm pointing to you guys, Phase 6. They're in the room, everybody. With their guidance, it's been phenomenal. But I'll make a long story short. Guys, I posted a picture that is 10/10 cringeworthy. I'll admit that all day long.
Which picture?
It's a shirtless picture of me standing in front of my sauna. And you don't understand how far that is out of my comfort zone, right?
Yep.
And I mean, like, my family's calling me like, you okay? I think they think I'm going through a
Midlife crisis, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I posted it. 2 days later, I get a text from an old friend of mine. I'll try to sum this up. And it was the screenshot of that. And he said, hey, man, I want to tell you, this is my screensaver on my phone for motivation. I'm 30 days away from my 50th birthday. I've found myself becoming complacent. I'm going for it. That guy also happened to be the first personal trainer I ever hired to show me how it's done.
Wow.
To me, that's a win. I'm done. The social media thing, I won. You know what I mean?
It just proved itself out.
One person. And I'm telling you, if I can inspire anybody, because I'm not a coach, I'm not a trainer, I'm not an expert, I'm far from it. If I can be a vessel to show that all of the experts out there, that if you follow what they say and just be consistent, maybe people my age and even younger are like, hey man, this dude's doing it, I want to do it too. That's a win for me. And that felt like I felt like $1 million.
Yes.
And so I'll step out of my comfort zone. I'll post, what do the cool kids call it? Thirst traps, whatever it is. But man, I'm sweating thinking about that too. But anyway, it was a huge win. And again, humbly speaking, I've had at this point in a short 2-3 weeks, countless messages like that from strangers and friends alike. Let's go. Because I get inspired by all the things that you guys are doing too. You think, I mean, if you're telling me I can return that, let's go. That's all I want to do it for.
That's gold right there. And I would imagine your humbleness, despite your success, has probably been a superpower in a lot of ways too, just being so grounded. But the downside of that is the imposter syndrome. And that's something that I think both Harry and I felt too, because it's so natural to be like, what do I know? I don't know more than these specialists. I don't know more than these experts. But I think if the shift that you've learned is just, instead of feeling like you need to create this like overly curated piece of content, let me just offer value and just kind of document my life.
Yeah.
And you're getting countless DMs from people because they want to know, oh, hey, who do you use for your meal prep? What are you doing for your workouts? How do you sauna cold plunge? Just by you basically documenting your life too. So probably feels so good to get over that imposter syndrome, because imagine how many people you'll hopefully impact over the next couple of years.
Man, I hope so. And I really appreciate that sentiment, you know, only because I can genuinely say that's the only reason I'm doing this, right? And it feels really, really good. And so I've been very open. Trust me, I'm not going to take the podcast in a dark direction, but I've been very open about struggling with certain mental health issues and stuff like that. I go through dark periods. Me personally, I've found movement can eradicate a lot of those dark days, right? And so I want so badly for people to say, I promise you, man, if you get off the couch and if you can, in whatever way, when you look in the mirror and like what you see, I promise you, man, that's going to win your day. And I want to win my day, you know? And so
Totally.
all of that's a non-negotiable. So thank you for acknowledging that. So when people tell me, man, I was going to go to happy hour, I was going to go and have brunch with a girl I'm trying to talk to, you know, but I'm going to get this done first because of you. Man, come on, man. Yeah, that's the best feeling in the world, because I damn sure need it from other people.
It's cool. I think like when I was really a consumer of social media instead of someone who's, you know, starting to put stuff out there,
Yeah.
you don't really look at social media as something that can be positive. And then you start seeing the one person who reaches out to you and says, hey, you've changed my life in a big way.
Yes.
And you've only been doing it for, you know, a few weeks here. So it's just cool to think about the impact that you can have. And I'm curious too, like, are you thinking just like fitness stuff, or is it going to be the business stuff too? Because you could talk about so much cool stuff.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope it's multifaceted, but I got to tell you, going back to imposter syndrome, I still struggle with that, you know, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'll be the first to say, I'm not a good businessman at all, not at all. But what I think I am, and again, humbly speaking, I think I can outwork most of the people that I know, at least, or at least be side by side with them. So, meaning I don't know what advice I can give except roll your sleeves up and get it done, you know? And it's such I almost sound like a simpleton, right? But yes, absolutely. If there's a desire for that or a demand for that, sure. I'll tell you, we posted something about the service industry at the short reel, and the messages I got from that, just talking about serving people, feel so good. Past employees were reaching out and saying, hey, I want you to know, you guys set a good example. I'm doing this in my life now because of that. What better feeling?
There's no better
What
feeling.
better feeling if we're in any way helping people become productive members of society and the community? Let's go, man. So yes, to answer your question, I tend to ramble, but yeah, absolutely, I'll post anything.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the thirst trap.
the thirst
you gotta
trap's
be few and
first.
far between, dude. that one, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop.
You're gonna post another one today?
Yeah, why not? Right here on the podcast. But no, it's But yeah, man, I appreciate that, because hopefully people will look for some kind of advice, but all it's going to be is roll your sleeves up, man, and get ready to sacrifice and just do it. Just
Just
go.
that
Just
hard
go to
work,
work.
motivation.
Yes, sir.
I love that.
Just go to work.
Just get it done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What I think is that I think there are going to be a lot of guys in their 40s and 50s that are going to draw inspiration from your content, because it really is this it's an unfortunate misconception of like, hey, I hit 45 and it's all just downhill from here.
Yes.
Where I feel like even since we've known you, you're continuing to level up physically, mentally, etc. What have been some of the biggest levers for you to pull, either in terms of the way you train, the way you eat, you know, contrast therapy, whatever it is? What are those like pillars that you make sure you try and get in every day or every week to make you feel as sharp as you feel now?
So I absolutely, some non-negotiables at this point in my life. I have to train and train really, really hard. And so I want to give credit to my coach if I can, Juan Leja over at On It. And you know, I think having a coach, but much less one that is personally invested in your well-being, can help you. I teamed up with Juan maybe 5 years ago, and I had to take a hiatus when I moved to Nashville, right? But that kind of was a pivotal turning point in my mind, or my life, only because, you know, I just established I'm not an expert, right? But to have somebody that is so, okay, so you tell me what you want to do. You want to work hard. You want to leave everything on the table with our hour session. Great, you're going to get it. And that guy is not wavered from that, right? And so Anyway, so training with Juan changed my life. And so I love that dude. I truly think he's the best coach in the country. That's a non-negotiable, is to train hard because I learned from his example. Another one, contrast therapy these days. And I'll tell you, some days I don't feel like doing it, if I'm being honest. Mm-hmm. Some days I feel the physical effects. But also it's almost like it's literally, which is impossible, clears the cobwebs in my mind, right? And so I love that. So that's a non-negotiable these days. But also just, I don't know, man, practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
You know, I damn sure will never be a guy that just talks. I want to walk the walk, you know? And so I have to check myself. You're not going to be a fraud today, and check those certain boxes and let's get it done. And so, but training, it's first and foremost, I have to.
Yeah.
And I absolutely have to. It's not a meathead thing. I have to for mind and body.
It's funny. There's so many misconceptions around hiring a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But I think about, we played baseball in college. That's how Harry and I became friends. Yeah. Why are coaches so important in sports? And then you just get kind of shot out into the real world and you don't have a coach.
Sure.
For fitness, just to be able to outsource that decision where you're like, I'm going to get my ass kicked, but I don't have to think about it. I just have to show up and I know that this specialist is going to teach me everything I need to teach.
Sure.
I could see why that would be super impactful.
Well, it's huge to me, and I don't know about you guys. I can't push myself. I try to push myself really hard alone. But I'm going to say this again. My particular coach, Juan, is so personally, we're the best of friends, and I just really admire who he is. But anyway, he's personally invested in getting me better, and I can tell that on a daily basis. And so, to your point, it's good that it's almost like when you ask having Chad in the bar business, right, to lean on. It's the same thing with a good coach, in my humble opinion. And there are days I don't want to get my ass whipped, excuse the language, on a daily basis. But he's not going to let me fail. And so those are the times that, and I want to put out there, I feel privileged to be able to afford a coach as consistent as I do. I feel very lucky. But that man, he just will not let me fail. What more could you ask for? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
totally.
What more could you ask for? And so...
Is there any workout in particular that you just dread when you see him write up the workout and you're just like, oh, Juan, why are you putting this on for today?
I'll try to make this one quick. I was training for something. It was a Crucible event, and I've talked often about it. I won't bore you guys, but it's led by Navy SEAL guys, and they put you through essentially their hell week. Long story. I'll leave it at that.
Kokoro? Mark Divine, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
wow.
sir. Yeah. Hardest thing I've ever done, most fulfilling thing. Oh, by far. Harry, I mean...
The oil field? Harder than the oil fields?
It makes the oil fields look like vacation in Southern California with the prettiest girl by your side, feed you grapes and champagne, buddy. I'm dead serious. It's
buds for civilians. That's literally what it is.
That's
crazy.
And you're spot on. How they started this, they started it for young men that had contracts going to the SEALs. They wouldn't let civilians do it. They had such a high success rate of people going through buds from their program. They said, okay, we'll let civilians do it. They don't take it easy. They don't back off. And so it's 53 hours. You don't sleep a wink. You go out to Southern California, you do the whole surf torture, sands, logs, everything that those guys do, you do. True story. They have 25 or 30% completion rate. Anyway, and I mean, it's by far the hardest thing. And in fact, I would highly encourage you guys to do it.
Really?
When we secured that event, I vividly remember, I swear to God, I felt taller walking through the San Diego airport coming home, knowing that I did it. First time I tried it, I wound up in the hospital with rhabdo for 4 days and then came back and did it. Anyway, so I didn't mean to ramble, but it's so good.
That's wild.
It's so good. But back to Juan, the one workout, this is how good he is. He heard I wanted to train from that. We talked about it. He said, well, send me footage of what they do. And you can't find it because it's so secretive, right? Well, you can find SEAL training. So Juan took it upon himself to find actual SEAL training. And this guy, and without being a meathead, I won't, but we had, combination supersets of like 20 reps with 225 on the squat bar, immediately followed by a sled push 20 yards there and back, and then log presses, weighted log presses. And I remember at the end of those workouts, physically thinking I was going to die. And you think I'm joking? There were 3 times I literally thought I was going to die on it. But shook his hand. Thank you, I think. I love you. I hate you. I'll never do that to me again. we'd go for round 2 the next
I'll see you Friday.
Yes, sir.
It's like that type of workout where your heart rate gets to a point where it almost feels like you have like battery acid in your throat. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, it's I don't want to gross out I do know what you're talking about, and I won't gross out the listeners. I can't count the number of times I've ran out back of on it and lost my breakfast and come right back, and he won't. I mean, cool, you're good. Cool, let's go.
Let's go.
And no
Next
breaks.
rep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's tough.
Does that environment in On It help kind of spur that competitiveness of pushing yourself to the point where you're throwing up? Like,
Man, I would go as far as to say there's not a fitter or more fit community than On, and the programming is world class. The community is world class. It's competitive, but not to the point that it's exclusive. Okay, it's about very welcoming environment. So yes, and I love a lot of gyms out there, all that good stuff. That is my heart and soul because those guys daily. You could look at a 115-pound woman. You can look at a 230-pound UFC fighter, literally. You can look at a pro athlete, all in the same room, and they're all doing their best. And so you walk through that door, and your BPMs go up, and it's fun to go. I love it.
that's unreal.
The environment that you put yourself in is so important.
Yes, it is.
And I even feel that with collective, you know,
Sure.
it might not be the same caliber physically as On It, but there's so many people there that are doing incredibly inspiring things, starting businesses high up in the corporate ladder, and you can't not feed off of that energy when you're there.
Man, I'm glad you brought Collective up because I'm obviously a huge fan of Collective. I'm a member there too. I see you all the time just getting after it. But, and yeah, you're right. It's two different atmospheres.
Yes.
But both are, you're going to do your very best in this atmosphere. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
hope that makes sense. And so, and both are equally as important. So, or equally as good, whatever you want to call it. And you're right, man. You get around the members of Collective and you look around like, I need to step myself up in my personal life, my business life. And, so yeah, another good environment. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, it's almost like it creates serendipity. It's like I was saying, you know, you were the second investor that we had. There's multiple other people that we've talked to. That's not why I'm doing it, but when you get there at 6 a.m., you're surrounded by all these other successful people that want to be there at 6, and then they see you working hard, and they're like, oh, you have a supplement company. Oh, you're raising money. Their likelihood of wanting to be a part of what you're doing is so much higher just because they see that you actually have that proof of work. And I feel like that's such good advice for someone in their 20s is don't worry about the price of a gym. Just put yourself in the best. So much of the battle is just putting yourself in the right room with the right people, and great things will happen.
Could not agree more with that, man. And have the wherewithal too to actually appreciate that environment, you know, and meaning, and not to be an opportunist. It's not that at all.
No.
But there is nothing wrong with capitalizing, so to speak, on whatever relationships may come from that. And so, again, I couldn't agree more. And there's nothing worse than a bad environment in any place, much less a training facility, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Collective has found a great way of being all-encompassing, whether it's business or fitness or just being part of the social club. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get to On It. I haven't really been, but you talking about it, it reminded, like the one time I went, it reminded me of the gym that I went to in high school, where everyone was training for baseball stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just so dialed in. And
Sure.
everyone had programming, and everyone was kind of just learning from each other. There was such a incredible environment.
Sure.
Where, you know, you don't necessarily see that at Collective, a little bit more group oriented, or at Squatch, which is a little bit more like
Sure.
outside functional. But just being around people who are programming and like truly walking through those progressions with coaches is so unique.
I love it. You mentioned Squatch. That's another facility I'd love to check out.
That's where we'll do the steps.
Let's go. I mean, I'm telling you, count me in. But at the end of the day, I think we're all saying the same thing. It's just me personally. I love to surround myself with people that are go-getters, and because I think a lot of times we need to pull inspiration from that, and every single place we mention provides that in its own way.
Do you think a lot of people see the way that you look and just misassume that you're on performance-enhancing drugs or something like that?
I'm really glad you brought that up, and I'm as transparent as I can be. Okay, I'm really, really glad you brought that up, and I want to make this clear. Yes, I do, and I've been asked more times than I can count.
A few times after the thirst trap pit.
One time after the thirst trap pick, one time. But you know what's so funny? and I swear to God above. Now, I'm very familiar with steroids. I know about them, but I never knew the term gear. Okay. But anyway, and people started asking me, are you on gear? And I had to look it up through that Urban Dictionary. I swear to God. I swear to God. But look, I want to make this very clear. So I'm definitely not on steroids. I am on TRT, so testosterone replacement therapy. I started that about 4.5 years ago. And I'll tell you why. And it's all regulated by a doctor. I take 1 milliliter a week. Again, I'm very transparent about that. So TRT and creatine are the two supplements that I take in a high-protein diet, right? For a guy my age, my doctor suggested getting my blood or my testosterone levels checked. And I laughed. I said, I have nothing to worry about, man. Just do me a favor. I was in the 300s. Wow. And I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but that's what I'm told. Pretty low, you know?
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought I was performing high and all that good stuff. And so anyway, we did that. We immediately got on TRT, like I said, about 4.5 years ago. My levels now hover around 900, sometimes 1,000.
Wow.
The thing that I love about that is recovery, okay? There's no denying, sure, I'm a little bit stronger and stuff like that, but I love to train 7 days a week, and it has provided me the ability to do that. Would people call it a crutch? Maybe. I call it just a supplement. And so maybe I'm burying my head in the sand. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm a huge proponent with it. So I love that question, because I also love to say, thank you for accusing me of being on steroids. I'll take that. I take that as a compliment all day long. But guys, my diet is as clean as can be. Established, I train 7 days a week. TRT, I mean, I put a lot of effort into training. And so I don't think I need that crutch, but TRT definitely helps. And so I'm really, really glad that we're putting that out there, because I almost want to make a post like, hey, man, I don't want any smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. You should post that.
Okay, I will. I'm
should.
That's serious. I'll do that.
I think being transparent about that stuff is important, because, like, I mean, it doesn't do anything to discredit the amount of work that you're putting in. It's obviously more impressive, because I think most people are probably like, oh, he's probably doing what like Liver King is doing. You know? Like, I don't know.
Dude, I don't want to look like Liver King. I really don't. I mean, the dude's a beast, almost literally.
Yeah.
But no offense, man. I don't want him to come to us and beat me up or anything. But I swear to God, I'll do a post.
You should.
Again, I'm an actual proponent for that. And I'm all for it, man. If you're in your 40s, maybe 45 and older, and you're struggling, you're feeling sluggish, which I wasn't, you know, and still. But if it can help, yeah, let's go.
Do you think you kind of found that at the right time?
Yes.
Like, is it something you would have explored earlier, or it was just like, 4 years ago was kind of the right time for you?
I think it was the right time, and I'll tell you, I think if it had been suggested even a year before, I'm really, really particular about what I put into my body, and we all know, man, if you're on TRT, you're basically on it for life. And so I don't think I would have done that. And man, again, I can tell you with all sincerity, I didn't hear my doctor say, hey, you might want to get on this and think, okay, let's go, bros, and I'm just going to be shredded and ripped. There's nothing like that. It was like my doctor explained the health benefits, right, of a guy my age, and so I'm all for it. If a doctor is telling me that, I'm going to do it. But yeah, to answer your question, maybe not before. I don't think so. I was kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you talking about that honestly. And I think that's what the space needs, is just more honesty and more transparency.
Agreed.
I've had bad gut issues for 6 years. And last year I had a doctor recommend that I get on the peptide BPC 157, the Wolverine peptide. It helped my stomach so much. But but there's purists that would be like, oh, you took something exogenously. And for me, it's like combining ancient wisdom with some of these modern inventions, and it works magic. And all you're doing with TRT is you're just offsetting your levels of what you need as a guy in their 50s. And your hormones are probably shot to shit of 23 years of fight or flight and entrepreneurship and the bar business. And people don't realize that testosterone is so much more than just a metric on a piece of blood work. It's your internal compass as a man. So I can't even imagine how good you feel.
Man, I wish I would have thought of that. Man, you guys are sharp. But as far as the hormones, I was all over the place. And that's another thing that it regulated. Or I said earlier, I kind of struggle a little bit with mental health and stuff like that. And it can wreak havoc on that. And so I found it also stabilized. Not much. I mean, I have some ex-girlfriends that would say, "You're not stabilized, buddy. Trust me." But anyway, had to. Anyway, I really couldn't resist that one. There's
That was
about 3 girls out there
too
nodding
hard.
emphatically. Yeah. Anyway, not at the same time. But but no, it regulated those moods and recovery, helped with sleep. So man, I agree wholeheartedly. It brought my levels up to where they should be. And I see nothing wrong with that. I'm going to continue to do it.
So you said you don't regret a day in your life, but if you had to, or if you could speak into 20-year-old Brad, 25-year-old Brad's ear, like the young guys who listen to this show, what sort of stuff would you tell them? There's so much information out there online, but just clear, clean advice from Brad Womack. What sort of advice would you give them?
That's a great question. Simple. Pay attention. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I already said that at certain times we put blinders on. And I wake up and I wonder if we allowed ourselves to enjoy even the worst of times or the best of times, man. And I say this in a weird way, but I mean this. I kind of hope with Noble, and again, I would never get into your business. It's none of my business. But that you guys have some times that you're panicking about lack of revenue. You're panicking about supply. You're panicking about, lack of growth or whatever it is. And I don't wish you ill, obviously. But what I'm saying is, I promise you those are the best times. I promise you, man. So pay attention. We're always, all of us are so concerned with the future. I've got to get here. I've got to get here. I've got to get here. Where you're not just looking around and really enjoying the present, man. And that's a problem of mine. And I look around or I think back, and the times that the splitting the cheeseburger, that's a monumental day, right? And as low as we felt, it built character that I can't quantify. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Pay attention and really pay attention. Pay attention to your family. Pay attention to your loved ones. Just, pay attention and to yourself. And it's a simple thing, but just, yeah, man, just slow down. And I know you're going. I know you're going, but just accept the good is also the bad. And it really is, man. You might not believe it, but it is.
So when you're saying that when you're in the shit and you're bussing tables and you're painting ceilings and you're working 3 a.m. nights, just reminding yourself like this is going to prep me for the future. I need to go through this.
Yes, but not only that, you're just doing what you have to do. You're doing it. You're doing it. I mean, acknowledge the fact that bussing tables, that's part of my job. I'm living my dream. And people would scoff. What do you mean busting your tables? Well, I was busting tables at a restaurant or bar that we owned, and so none of that's fun, but just pay attention to what's going on around you. Maybe not so much in the future, but like, hey, this is part of us building something. Let's just acknowledge that. It all has to be done, and pay attention to that. Just don't let it fall by the wayside. Again, little things that seem little are huge. I promise you, you're going to think about or back on the little, seemingly little thing.
I really love what you said around the good and bad, because we're so quick to label things good and bad. It's like a rainy day.
Yes.
Rainy days can be peaceful, and maybe it's like just a chance to slow down. And I think that there's so many lessons in that hardship. Like, you're not building character necessarily during the good times, but the bad times all day.
Man, I hate to reference again my social media page because it's nothing. My 3 followers might have seen it, but
Do you want to plug your handle?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. But thank you. Anyway, I posted something the other day, and I mean this every time, and it was something I'm paraphrasing, but I would take the difficult road every single day over the easy one, and I mean that, man. And so, I don't know, man. Guys like you, when you're constantly building something, it's gonna really suck at times. It just is, and you're gonna wonder what the hell you're doing it for, and all of that. I give you my word, man. I'm talking about a cheeseburger that I couldn't afford. I'm not talking about the first time we broke X amount of dollars in revenue. I'm not talking about, when we got awards for, and this is a true story, highest gross sales in the state of Texas for Dogwood, Houston. We beat Minute Maid Park, believe it or not, swear to God, our first month open.
Wow.
I'm not talking about that. I am actually, but you know what I mean? That doesn't stick with me. It's those times that, man, we still trudge through, and I really take pride in that. So anyway, just pay attention to what's going on.
I don't think there's a better way to close out the podcast, brother. I'm so glad we got to do this. I mean, we've talked about it for a little over a year, I think. So to actually be able to sit down and make this happen, I feel like Harry and myself learned a lot about you that we didn't know. I think we thought we knew a lot of your story, but hearing those seemingly little details that are actually massive details that are part of your story. And again, man, we just we really admire you, and we just appreciate your friendship and your belief in us. And I just can't wait to see all the people that you go on to impact, brother. It means so much.
Thank you. And I'll just say thank you for having me. The admiration is, trust me, reciprocated. So thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brad.